What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. This is our week 2 betting preview for the NFL. We'll talk sides, we'll talk totals, we'll talk props, we'll talk money line, dogs, touchdowns, and of course, build our Sunday 6-pack of best bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, the Prime Minister of carrying the Week 1 pod with a 3-0 6-pack. Good stuff. Stuck. How you feeling heading into week 2?
Yeah, it could have been a monster week. It was good for the 6-pack, but where was Mark Andrews? They scored 40 points. Mark Andrews has 1 target for 5 yards. If Cannon got a million targets, but none near the red zone, I would have liked for him to get in the end zone. And then the Ravens losing cost me money. I was betting them live money line early. I don't know how that happened, and then I don't know how the Falcons didn't cover. That was a great you plus 2.5 closes pick. They dominate the game and lose on flukes, fourth downs. They dropped like 4 Baker picks. So that was super annoying. They were probably the unluckiest team in the NFL last week, and they had injuries. And I will blame you for saying it doesn't matter that Mooney's out because Hodge then had a wide open touchdown that he just didn't look up for.
No. That was it was hot, and that was after Penix probably his worst throw of the game to Casey Washington of all people, who played like every snap after getting the starters treatment in preseason, which I thought was just like I thought he had like a phantom injury, and no, he was just actually being treated as like a
They still won that game. The Patriots Raiders total is annoying. There was like 700 yards in that game and no one could score. But not sure it was the right side. But yeah, it was a nice weekend. Could have been really good with a couple of breaks. Hopefully they come. I always say your NFL season, you can always tell if you're like going to have a great season or a poor season based on how fun it is. And it's those little games like the Falcons Bucks game. Like when things are going your way, Falcons, score that touchdown or they get a couple stops on fourth down, or the end of the game, they make that field goal, they win in overtime, but instead they miss it. And like those are the little things. The Ravens blowing that lead. There was some bad
God, that made me sick. Yeah, that made me sick. That just made me sick. I even had I had an under for the Monday night game. It's 17-6. And like heading into the fourth quarter, McCarthy can't do anything. And then I mean, honestly, a pick 6 probably hurt me, and then that just unraveled. So yeah, it was one of those weeks. But I mean, you got a Titans win, so
the Titans covered, baby.
Happy for you there. And like, what was Sean Payton doing, by the way?
There was
Bo Nix, and you'll be proud of me because I know we've gone back and forth about Bo Nix. Turner wanted to put Bo Nix in our cash game lineup in the flex, and I was like, I don't put quarterbacks like Bo Nix in cash game lineups. And sure enough, he has a Bo Nix game. But like what? Like 4th and 8, and you throw you call a deep shot to Marvin Mims, who like was uninvolved the whole game for some reason. It was very odd. That was fine. I mean, hey, finally, like that you're owed about, I want to say 10 more of those this season. So buckle up. But we'll get into our week 2 6-pack Thursday night football. Stuck. I know you wanted to give some quick thoughts on the Packers, who are favored by 3.5 with a total of 48.5 against the Commanders.
Yeah, people said they wanted to hear quick thoughts on Thursday Night Football, so I always appreciate feedback. I make this 4, but I was impressed with Washington last week. Some of the older guys that they brought in, like how they contributed, but it was the Giants. So like I don't know how much of that was the Giants. The Packers, there's a lot of injury watch here. The offensive line, a couple guys on defense. How many snaps is Parsons going to go? So there's a lot more injury questions, key injuries. Like the Packers could be without 2 starting offensive linemen. So I'm still monitoring injury reports too early. Like I would make it 4 at full strength. So would play the Packers at 3. But with some of the injuries, it might just be a pass for me.
Yeah, I think that's your Cliff bias. Got extra point. This is a field goal game for me. I was impressed with the Packers. Even, again, these guys just can't keep receivers healthy. It's like Kyle Shanahan with his football team. But Washington, well-coached team, had to work out some kinks in week 1, but they'll be better now. I like how they're using Debo. I like that they're, kind of like the Packers are doing. They're being assertive, right? It's like Brian Robinson had a decent year last year. Now we're going to get we think this seventh rounder is better, and it paid off. So I think they made some good moves. I think they're a very good football team as well, and they'll get better as the season progresses. But so yeah, nothing for me there. But I would actually lean the other way at this number. But a lot of injuries. And one more thing, you got a quick announcement about a new show you're doing.
Yeah, super fun show. It's NFL based, but it's looser. It's a little more fun. Doing it with Kendra Middleton, who we just brought on. She's great. Brandon Kravitz, who's the host, he's awesome. Talking the NFL a couple times a week. We'll do a recap show on Sunday, and also just having a little more fun. So it's a new favorite show. Check it out. It's I think you'll enjoy it. Give us a shot there. Leave a review if you can. But yeah, it's the new favorites. Check it out wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, and that's Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday.
Yep.
People can catch that. All right. Yeah, definitely check that out. Good stuff there. All right, 5-1. You're up. Nice sweep of the six pack in week one. Yeah, couldn't get anything to go my way. Got like closing line value, just didn't work out. But I'll try to be better this week. But you're up first. Where you going?
All right, for my first pick of the week 2 Sunday six pack on what I'm deeming National Revenge Narrative Day. Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl rematch. Ben Johnson versus Lions. Joe Flacco going back to Baltimore on the 30-year anniversary. McCarthy Penix national title rematch. DK Metcalf versus the Seahawks. But for my first pick of the week 2 Sunday six pack, we're going back to the well, baby. We're going with the Tennessee Titans. Plus 5.5 against the Rams. I would shop around. It's in a dead zone right now. See if you can get a 6. I think some Rams money might come. But 5.5 is fine for me. Look, there are some injuries to note for the Rams. They might be without both of their guards, and that's important because that's how you get the Stafford. You have to get pressure. You have to get pressure up the middle, and the Titans are certainly capable of doing that. And they might be without Dotson, who's been so good the past couple of years, who got hurt. I doubt he plays, high ankle. And Avila, not sure. He came back in because Dotson got hurt. I don't know if he'll go. We'll see. But the injury for the Titans watch is J.C. Latham, right tackle. He was bad last week, but his backup is also bad. That could collapse things. But so both offensive lines could be in trouble here. I think this might end up being a lower scoring game where points are at a premium, which makes the home dog a little bit more intriguing. By the way, 0-1 underdogs in week 2, 101, 75, and 4 against the spread since 2005, 57%. And Matt Stafford in his career is a road favorite of more than a field goal, 4-9 against the spread, 31%. But I actually thought if you look at the numbers, they're going to look so bad for Tennessee. Like 2.5 yards per play. But I actually thought Cam Ward was good given the circumstances, right? On the road in Denver, his coach did him no favors. There was like a 30-yard out Iomanner catch that Callahan didn't know the rules. He didn't know an elbow was inbounds. So
I told you this dude. I don't like this dude at all, Callahan.
No, he's really bad. At the end of the half, the worst coaching decision I've ever seen when it was they were at the 5 and Denver had no 2 timeouts, 40 seconds to go. You're up 3, and you throw it 3 times, give them the ball back, and they score a touchdown. That almost cost me the cover if DK doesn't return it and get me a field goal there. They don't cover because you gave away 7 points. Literally just gave it away. So, yeah, the coaching was really bad. But special teams were much better, significantly improved. The interior of the offensive line, much better. Skoronski played really well. And then you brought in Zeitler at the right guard spot. So tackle's still a little questionable. Dan Moore's an upgrade at left tackle. He had a bad game. But they were in Denver in altitude against one of the best defenses in the NFL, just with an offensive line injury. I thought Ward performed well. It was never going to be perfect. There were drops, but he was poised. He just looked poised. He didn't pull any Levises. Maybe took a couple bad sacks to get out of field goal range, but he'll learn from that. Now, this week, you're going to have to deal with pressure again against the Rams, but the secondary test is much easier. The Rams secondary was not good. If you look at like coverage blanket rates and open receivers and contested catch, the Rams were not good. I mean, look at their secondary. Emmanuel Forbes played 50 snaps. Darius Williams, I guess, is just benched. And then the Rams last week, Stafford looked good, but we've seen him in his age, and he has his back injury week to week. High variance here, especially if there's interior pressure. But I think that there's opportunities here for the Titans to move the ball through the air against a much easier test at home, against a much worse secondary. And I think this is a good test for Ward to get thrown into the fire in Denver. Rams also, if you want to go narrative street, have Eagles revenge on deck, maybe peeking ahead a little bit there. But yeah, I'm in on this Titans team being undervalued, and I was impressed with Ward, even though the offensive numbers were not good. Just don't give it to the other team. Don't commit catastrophic special teams mistakes. And that's what they did last week. And they were able to stay in the game despite horrendous coaching that almost cost them the game. And I like their defense. We even got L'Jarius Sneed 20 snaps. He looked really good. They're ramping him up because it's a soft tissue. You might see 25 to 30 snaps this week, but when he's in there, I really like their secondary. We know about the defensive line. So, yeah, give me the Titans plus 5.5.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think the Titans, I talked about it. I thought they had a really tough matchup and they survived and just eked out that cover last week despite the coaching. I do think they upgraded the talent on the team. And yeah, this Rams team, they're going to play a lot. I think they're going to play a lot of low scoring games this year. It's just, and like you said, Stafford week to week with the, him handling pressure. I thought at times last year he was great. Week one was kind of up and down, but the Rams kind of lucked out, forcing that fumble on a Wale late. That game could have gone differently as well. I know
the Texans also had to change 3 offensive line positions before the game. So it was a mess. And then they had 2 more guys get hurt during the game. So that really helped them. But yeah, and Stafford statistically was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL against pressure last year.
Yeah, he woke up late. He woke up I was impressed.
He was better
down the
late.
stretch.
It was high variance, but just overall, his numbers when he was under pressure were bad. I mean, he doesn't move, so that makes sense. He's still able to angle throws and he has good pocket awareness. But if you can get up the middle, and that's where the 2 guard injuries could be big, there's little recourse for Stafford. Where are you going for yours?
With my first pick, the second overall of the week number 2 Sunday 6-pack, going with the New York Jets.
You're telling me to be responsible last week.
I got to do it, man. I got to do it. Listen, I talked about last week why I like the Ravens, and I just don't think this Bills defense is very good, and that proved to be correct. Now, their offense is great. We know that. But one of the things I've noticed.
Wait, I thought you said the Giants. Are you saying the Jets?
Yeah, you're going Jets, baby.
I think you said the Giants, or maybe I'm mishearing.
No. I tried to. That was a joke. I was like,
are you going with that? I think you are going. You're going to end up going.
I'm going
anyway. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Sorry for interrupting.
Tease. Yeah, no, we got to go with the Jets against the Bills. Home dog plus 6.5 here. And one of the things that was most apparent to me, Stuck, and I'm curious actually if you thought the same. It's only 1 week. Things will get better, I'm sure, but Tanner Engstrand is kind of winning that, who is more important in Detroit thing over Ben Johnson and over Dan Campbell even. But I just thought watching the Bears, some of their concepts, some of their play designs is just kind of head scratching. Whereas watching the Jets, this is what I thought they just called a really good game plan for Justin Fields. I thought he looked the best he's ever looked. I like the routes they were using them. They were using a lot of routes where the receivers are, moving and crossers, things like that. Whereas over in Chicago, I mean, a lot of stop routes and just night and day. It's almost like there's more confidence in Fields, and he kind of rewarded it. So I kind of same kind of quarterback that gave the Bills defense fits last week. Obviously, no one's Lamar, but a guy who can move around, a guy who can throw on the run. And they're going to have, you still have Garrett Wilson, who I thought played really well. But most importantly, this Jets offensive line, the blocking schemes look much improved. Membo graded out as the number 1 tackle.
Clean slate, 26 pass pro snaps, no pressures, no hurries, no stacks. And he's going against Watt.
Yeah. And I know the Jets lost in typical Jets fashion. So I don't think people realize how much of an improvement this offense was. And that's why I want to bet the Jets here is big home dogs. It's because we know the Bills are going to score points. I mean, you could have, we saw it last week. I mean, you shut them down you're not shutting the Bills down all game. So what you have to do on the other side to cover these numbers is you have to be able to score points. And I think the Jets can do it on this Bills defense. I think a lot of teams could do it on this.
Yeah, Bills defense has issues.
Right. And because, the linebacking core returned, but it was pretty much one of the worst in the league. Milano's not the same. Ed Oliver's really the only guy in the D line that's showing up at this point. I think that's going to take time with all the young guys. And you know, I guess Bosa had to play or two, but and then the secondary, you know, the corner situation is shaky with the injuries, and then the safety situation is bad. Right.
Rapp
so
is bad. Bishop's not ready yet.
Yeah, and the Jets, they have, you know, their receiving core outside of Wilson could be better, but I think Taylor's only going to get better. They played him as a full, you know, every snap player. He does give them something up the seam over the middle to kind of attack the Bills, and you know, the Jets do have a number of tight ends. They can attack you that way, and that's one of the ways you attack the Bills. Weak linebackers, weak safeties. The Jets have 4 tight ends on the roster. They're one of those, you know, 1-2, 2-1 personnel type of teams. So the lack of secondary receivers is not going to hurt them as much. And most importantly, this is not just the same old Jets. Xavier Gipson, who, by the way, last time they played the Bills, or not the last time, but a couple years ago, they played the Bills on opening day. Gipson wins the game for him with a return touchdown. He fumbles and kind of, you could say, loses them the game last week. Cut. This is a new Jets culture here. So want to buy low on the Jets. Was very impressed with what I saw. Actually got them +3. So that was a win somehow, but still lost the total in catastrophic fashion last week. But that Pittsburgh Jet game, did not expect that, but did not expect the Jets offense to look as good as it did. And this Bills defense has issues. That wasn't just the Ravens. The Ravens just made it look like, I mean, it was just a video game. But the Jets I think the Jets still are going to be able to get to mid-20s here. And that should be enough to cover the 6.5 here, because now the Bills have to win by margin in a road division game that they have struggled with in the past. So give me the New York Jets. I mean, you have trend on top of trend on top of trend for these, you know, week 2 home teams facing a road team that won in week 1, 54% over the past 2 decades. Week 2 dog off a loss against a favor that was a dog in the last game. 64% against the spread. Divisional home dogs against a road favorite above that won in week 1 and covered. 61% against the spread. I mean, it goes on and on. Week 1 to 3 divisional home dogs over the past 2 decades are 63%. There's just trend after trend for these divisional dogs early in the year. So give me the New York Jets.
I agree with this one. I'm on this as well. There could be a little hangover for the Bills too after that game, just like emotionally, but like just home divisional dog, pretty basic handicapping here. And I did upgrade the Jets a bunch. And think about it, the Jets, they might be better than last year, more serious, like you said. And last year in this spot, like I think week 3 or 4, they were, what were they, +1 or at home?
Yeah,
the Bills, and they lost because they couldn't make a field goal. The final score was like 23-20, and the Bills defense has many more issues right now because of injuries and on suspensions and other things. So yeah, I was really impressed with Fields, the young tackles especially. That was huge. And then
run game too.
Yeah,
by the way, like Breece Hall, I mean, you know, the criticism of him has been, you know, it's the efficiency isn't there. The efficiency was there.
Yep. All right. I agree with you on that one. For my second pick and the 3rd overall of the week 2 Sunday 6-pack, I was going to go with the Houston Texans, who I love under a field goal on Monday night, but I realized, oh, wait, that's on Monday night. So I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons +3.5. There's a 4 out there as we're recording, that doesn't matter. Pushes or losses in the contest. 3.5 is fine. At the Minnesota Vikings, kind of those games, kind of the Texans and the Falcons game, those sides go together because very misleading last week in that Atlanta-Tampa game. The Falcons had a +6.7% net success rate. That was the second highest for a team that lost. The highest was the Jets, who we just backed. But the Falcons were the much better team in that game. Baker Mayfield and Tua, the only quarterbacks in the NFL with a turnover-worthy play percentage of over 10%. Baker just got really lucky. There was even a ball that went through Xavier Watts' hands on a touchdown. There was 2 other like drops of picks. And then there was 2 fourth downs. The Bucs went for it in their own territory and got it. The Falcons went for it at the 50 and couldn't get it. I could go on and on. They missed a kick. They had to play without Mooney, and then London gets hurt late. And the reason I played this today. Mooney and London practiced. Unlike you, Chris, I care about that. I don't need Hodge out there not looking for the ball.
They also signed the kicker.
Yeah,
Another kicker.
another kicker. I guess he just lost it. It's amazing what happens to these kickers. But yeah, look, Igbuka's a stud, but this Bucks offense is not the same without Liam Cohen. The run game's not the same. Their offensive line without Wirfs, they were moving everyone around, Barton to tackle, and so it's not the same there as well. And I was actually pretty. I'm getting these games mixed up. This is why I like the Texans. Let me go back to the Falcons Vikings. I'm all over the place. I'm trying to sell two games.
I know exactly
I
what you
like
mean.
the Texans on Monday night.
The Falcons were good against the Bucks. That's what you're trying to say.
I liked the rookies on their defense that they're relying on. I liked
Yes.
what I saw. Bowman, Watts looked really good, really comfortable on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, I didn't love some of the play calling and just the play design and sequencing, but I thought Penix looked good and he looked really comfortable versus the blitz. You know, the blitz is coming from Bowles. If you look at his blitz numbers, they were really good. That's going to be important against Flores here. Surface, you got an extra day of prep and rest. Vikings off of a hard-fought divisional win on Monday Night Football. In that game, they suffered a couple potential key injuries. We don't know if Darisaul's be back at left tackle. I'm assuming he is, but Van Ginkel probably out. Cashman probably out. So a couple key guys on their defense are not out, and then they're still a bit short-handed at receiver. And this is just anything over a field goal is fine with the Falcons. Like JJ McCarthy, he was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week somehow. He threw for like 140 yards. Yes, he composed himself, was impressive, but for the first 3 quarters of that game, he looked horrific. And he was playing a team that was down their top 2 corners, their best linebacker, and
Quarterback.
yeah, like so he still has a while to go here. So I thought I was impressed with the Falcons, and I think they'll be right in this game. And this week we at least get over a field goal when they inevitably lose by 1, 2, or 3, as they always seem to
Yeah.
do. But he'll also see more zone this week than he did last week against the Bears, and McCarthy might just like lock in on Jefferson a bit too much and make a key mistake because Baker should have made a couple. Like their zones looked really good last week. So anything over a field goal here, I like. Give me the Falcons plus 3.5.
Yeah, I'm on this as well. Anything over 3, and Younghoe Koo cannot hurt me. That's how I'm gonna look at it. That's what I'm gonna tell myself. But yeah, I think this Falcons team is improved, and it's because of the defense. And then getting Mooney back and London and potentially a different kicker. Parker Romo signed to compete with Koo. That you're just getting a lot of upside there. Even if, I think the Vikings may very well win by, like you said, 1, 2, or 3. The stage is set for NFL Week 2, and all bets that come with it. Now is the perfect time to upgrade to an Action Pro subscription. It's the only way to get real-time pick alerts from Stuckey, NFL prop master Sean Kerner, Brandon Anderson, Nick Giffen, myself, the entire Action team of experts, plus all the tools you need to turn a profit betting this season. And right now, new subscribers can get $20 off a year of Action Pro by visiting actionnetwork.com/pro and using code POD20. That's POD20. That's 20 cash off for the full year. So you'll be covered for the entire NFL season, college football, March Madness, baseball, the NBA, the WNBA. Don't wait. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use code POD20. That's POD20 to get $20 off a year of Action Pro. All right. For my second pick, the 4th overall of the week, 2 Sunday 6-pack, going with the New England Patriots plus 1.5 at the Miami Dolphins. And most of the offseason, I thought the Dolphins had lost the plot. Then I started to say, you know what? Maybe they were just kind of overplaying, kind of overplaying it with the injuries, and everyone seemed kind of healthy. They're going against the Colts. There's no way Tua and this team being healthy goes in there and loses to Daniel Jones. And oh my gosh, just a complete disaster on both sides of the ball. Tyreek Hill's already fuming in the first or second quarter. This Dolphins team is just a mess. I don't trust them to correct it. Sometimes you see just night and day, week 1 to week 2. And that could happen. But the fact that they came out in week 1 like that after we're already waiting for a correction the entire offseason, it didn't happen. And now you're going against a Mike Vrabel coached Patriot team that I think will be better in week 2. That I'm more confident that they will be better in week 2 than week 1. The Patriots played well enough to win that game against the Raiders. They're still a very mediocre team, but so is the Dolphins. And the Dolphins, more injuries on the offensive line for the Dolphins, more injuries in the secondary, which are their 2 weakest units. So give me the New England Patriots. Could get Christian Gonzalez back here, which would help.
Don't think so.
Yeah, probably could. You could, but probably not. But either way, Dolphins are just in a much worse position, I think, injury wise. With the Daniels going down, more injuries in the secondary. It's not looking good. Again, trends galore. Week 2 dogs off a loss against a favorite that was a dog last game. 64% over the past 2 decades. Week 2 dogs +6 or less. Off a straight up loss, 73-42 at 3 pushes, 63% over the past 2 decades. It goes on and on. Got about 8 trends saved in
dogs and matchups of 0-1 teams, 53, 28, and 3, 65% since 2003. Patriots, Browns, Giants, and Bears. That applies to this week. Dolphins are a mess. Their secondary is a mess. They have all these injuries from during camp now that they're relying on guys that they just brought in with a couple weeks ago. So what are they Anthony Weaver, the defense coordinator, is just blitzing. They don't trust anyone in the back end. They're just did they blitz 55 to 60% of the time, the highest rate in the league by far last week.
Didn't work at all.
They got nothing on the back end. Their offensive line is bad. Tua looked awful. They got nothing going. So the only side I could take in this is the Patriots. But every fiber of my being wants to bet both of these teams after what I saw last week. But I'd much rather bet. I don't want any part of the Dolphins.
Patriots got some upsides too. They only used Henderson on 35% of the snaps. Butte, actually, we heard the kind of rumblings in the offseason. Looks like a revelation. May will only get better. I think that offense could be a lot better. And Vrabel, you got Vrabel as a dog here. And when the spread is within 2 touchdowns and he's a dog, anywhere between a pick and 14 points or a half a point and 14 points as a dog, he is 29, 22, and 2, ROI of almost 10%. So this is a spot you want Vrabel. I just trust him more. Dolphins, this is absolutely a team that it could just unravel very quickly.
They just need to blow it up. McDaniel's out here saying today, they don't think Waller's probably going to play this whole year. It's a mess.
What was that signing anyway? They try to change the culture, and I'm not knocking him for it. He was honest, but he said, "Hey, the Giants had me making a fullback lead block in the hole, and I decided this was time to call it quits." That's the guy you want to reset the. I just don't think they're on the same page with Greer, because he's like, all right, I'm going to trade Jonnu, because I guess he didn't have, and he realized it's a big part of the offense. Like, all right, we could take another veteran tight end and just turn him into Jonnu. No, Darren Waller is not the same thing as Jonnu. But yeah, give me the Patriots +1.5.
I think that's the only way you can look. All right, for my 3rd pick and the 5th overall, the week 2 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs +1.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Keep this real simple. There's a lot of issues with the Chiefs. The back end of their secondary, their wide receivers. I assume Worthy's going to be out, or maybe they put a brace on him, but I assume he's not playing. And then Rashee Rice is suspended, so the weapons are not great. You have Travis Kelce, who's basically should have retired. So the weapons are not great here. Running attack is not great, but I'm trusting the Chiefs at home as a dog to get the Super Bowl revenge. We just bet the Falcons national title revenge. Now I'm going Super Bowl revenge. I'm just full on narrative street here. But Mahomes is a dog, 12-2-1 against the spread. 86% covering by almost a touchdown per game. I do have some questions about the Eagles after last week. Offensive coordinator, this could be a Brian Johnson situation. The play calling looked horrific. There was no creativity. It was ugly. They easily could have lost that game to the Cowboys. I get that Carter was out and that hurt them, but the defense, I still have questions about the defense. Cornerback 2, a lot of the guys they lost in the defensive line. The safeties are beatable, attackable. So I think you're going to get. You got extra time to prepare. I trust Reed much more than Sirianni with that. And I think that you might. Landon Dickerson also might be out. That's big in the interior offensive line for the Eagles. And A.J. Brown might be hurt, or I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to use him. But because he was dealing with an injury, So I don't know how healthy the Eagles receivers are, but I don't really trust that passing attack under this coordinator yet to really exploit some of the issues the Chiefs have on the back end. I do trust the Chiefs' run defense, which has been one of the most improved over the past year and a half. They shut down Barkley in the Super Bowl. It was that passing attack that got him. I'm not sure the Eagles are there yet, and I think this will just be like a Reed and Mahomes specialty. It'll be just like a lot of Mahomes scrambles, all the tight ends, middle of the field. Like, who are you going to trust to win a game at home with scrubs at receiver? It's Mahomes, and I don't even do it by margin. Just be a typical Chiefs game. Win by two on a walk-off field goal. So yeah, Chiefs is a dog here. I'm rolling with them to get their Super Bowl revenge.
Yeah, I'll probably join you. Don't feel great about it, but
You have
then
more
I
on this
remind
later.
myself,
You have more on this
yeah,
later.
no, then I remind myself how I was not impressed with the Eagles, and I wasn't impressed with the Cowboys either. I mean, they were just kind of stuck in Dak off all game, even though he finished with one of the like a nothing stat line. Granted, that was a lot on Lamb, but I am for my third pick, the sixth overall of the Week 2 six pack. I'm going with the G-men. Maybe it's just banging your head against the wall.
Never learn.
Yeah, never learned. This could be my Titans, but I don't have the Cowboys as 4.5 points better than the Giants on a neutral field. I can't get to this number, and I think the Giants. I know the final score looks listless last week, but could have been a little bit different. Giants little couple opportunities down in close. I still think this defense is very good, and I mean overall the Giant defense has potential. It may be better than the Eagles defense that the Cowboys faced in week 1.
Well, and they got the benefit from Carter, and they had no depth at the position. Like, that's why they were able to run the ball, which they just, I mean, that was a huge blow.
Javonte Williams, 3.6 yards to carry yet again. Oh, he's back. Whatever. He's let's see him run it this week. I know the rookie got some good runs, but we love him. We love Bill. I just don't think this Cowboys running game is for real. I don't think that the way I know, they were on Dak. Hey, he's making some throws and he's putting it out there, and his receivers are letting him down. But I don't think you can play like that consistently in this week. Like, he doesn't scramble at all. Like, at least Wilson, when he's throwing these deep shots and all these contested balls downfield and sideline, he's trying to scramble. Now, he almost coughed up another one of those his patented fumbles near the goal line, but at least he's scrambling. If he's bad, you have the upside of Dart here coming in maybe at halftime or something like that. But I just don't think this Cowboys team is very good. I think, we were kind of looking like, okay, how are we going to fade the Eagles heading into the season? For me, I couldn't do it with the Cowboys. I still don't think this team is very good just because they kind of stayed with the Eagles. I think that Eagles team is also very vulnerable, kind of like the Bills. So, it's a new year. G-men are better than what they showed, had a lot of chances in close. I think some of those play calls Dable would want to have back down in close, but that could have been a different game against Washington. And the Cowboys, I mean, you take away CeeDee Lamb or you let CeeDee Lamb go crazy. I still not a believer in Pickens as a game changer. I think Dak is just laying too many balls out where there's going to be too many contested catch situations. There's going to be tips and interceptions if he's going to have to play like that. He's still not scrambling. I still don't believe in the running game. The defense played above its heads in week 1. I think that was actually the best part of their performance. But again, you're going against this Eagles first game with a new coordinator, and the Eagles just have these weird hiccups. We never know what Jalen Hurts is seeing or not seeing or what's going on with them half the time anyway. So I love it. I still love like the Giants D line. I think this defense has a lot of upside. They still only give up 21. I think they score more than 6. Keep it close here. Another one of these divisional dogs that lost in week 1 who I expect to rebound. So give me the G-men. Same thing, about 9 trends in Bet Labs for the G-men this week. So
yeah, the one biggest one that I always like to play in week two road dogs off double-digit loss, 65% over the past 20 years. That applies to the Giants and Panthers, but I don't think I can get there on either. I mean, Cowboys, they looked a little better than I thought. They have extra rest and prep here. The Giants, like, maybe Dable's not the guy. Like, Daniel Jones leaves and he's going to be like an all-pro. I get it's the Dolphins, but Barkley leaves. Like they can't even figure out the offensive line's still a mess. Andrew Thomas didn't practice again today. Neighbors is limited. You won't say if
I
he's
mean,
going
he's going to be on the injury
to.
report all year. That's just what that's
Robinson
gonna
didn't practice today. Like Russ
be.
looked
Yeah.
awful. Go to Dart, get Thomas back, and then I'll be with you on the Giants.
I mean, I hear
can't
you.
get
But
there.
I mean, this is what people are going to say. This is why we're getting the 6. I just think this number
I get it, but I
is
just can't
massive.
get there.
Like this is a massive number for a Cowboy team that may be the 20th to 25th best team in the league themselves, even if you think the Giants are the same. So I'm just, it's week 2.
Get it. I get what you're doing. I don't think I can get there. I couldn't last week with them. So all right, let's recap. I got quarterbacks, Penix, Mahomes, and Cam Ward.
I got Justin Fields, Drake May, and Russell Wilson. Hopefully it's Jackson Dart, but yeah, not I got all these Northeast teams. I mean, geez, this is the Bill Belichick special right here. The Giants, Patriots, and Jets. Oh, what could go wrong? Football is back. Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. You can play with as little as $1. Get your picks right. You can win up to 5,000 times your shmoney. I love Underdog. And this week I am looking at the Monday night game between the Texans and the Bucks, and I think it will be a rebound effort for Bucky Irving. So I want to be on his hires because I think he underperformed like the Texans in the game, but do think Bucky Irving has a better game. So let's go with the hires on his yardage there. Download the Underdog app today. Sign up with promo code Action Network, and you can score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Action Network, ACTION Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line and 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. All right, Stuck. Favorite total. Both struck out last week with the Pats Raiders and Jets Steelers. I mean, that was way over. You went first, so I'll go first here. I'm going with the Jags Bengals over 48.5. Not buying that the Bengals defense is just fixed. It was still the Browns. They still are kind of getting things together. And there's still some very troubling signs, I think, for the Bengals. I mean, they just got gashed by rookies galore out of the backfield. Tight end. I think that Liam Cohen is that he's going to be able to kind of replicate some of that. I don't think the pressure, outside of Hines Allen for Jacksonville is really going to be there like it was on the interior last week with Myles Garrett for the Browns against Burrow. So I think he'll have more time to throw and get right game offensively, I think, for Cincinnati. And I still, Liam Cohen and the Jags put up 26 in the debut. I think it continues to improve, and they traded Bigsby, opened more snaps up for Tootin. He's explosive. Hunter's only scratching the surface. So I think this game, you get back to what you expect from Cincinnati and that Jacksonville defense. I know they're going to play Hunter a little more, but still, I think a ways to go for them. So over 48.5 for me, Jacksonville, Cincinnati.
I initially wanted to bet this, but I don't know. I'm a little worried. I liked a lot of the coverages both new defensive coordinators were using, and I'm like the Jags, like they should have done last year. They only went 12% man last week, and that's
It was Bryce Young and Joe and
I
40 year
know,
old
but I'm
Joe
just saying
Flacco.
they went much more coverage.
Yeah.
Bengals went a ton of cover six. They didn't blitz at all. So my fear is twofold. Because on the surface, this makes a lot of sense. My fear is like just the Bengals in the first two games under Burrow every year, just they suck. But my fear is that Bengals going to go coverage heavy, not blitzing, and then there's just going to be long drives. And then the Bengals against zone heavy, a lot of coverage in the back. It's going to be Burrow dinking it Duncan just efficiently, and there's just going to be long drives. That's my concern. But on the surface, this is one of my first looks.
This
Uh,
is
uh,
it is a concern. I was just gonna say, sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna say that like you also got to keep in mind though, this is where like those long drives a little bit less impactful to the totals because you're always your kicks are coming out to the 35 or kickoff returns are coming out to the 35 like field position. It's you get a long drive, but then you're right back there again. So like, how long are these drives really going to be when you only got to get like 60 yards to get back in the end zone?
yeah, I am trying to be a little more conservative on totals early in the year until get more data on this.
Fair.
The field position was only up to like 30.2, which
Yeah.
is the highest ever in week one, but not by a ton compared to last year. There were a lot more returns, so there is more variance as far as the starting field position.
Love the returners on both these teams, by the way. Tootin for the Jags and Jones for the Bengals.
That could potentially help. But yeah, still trying to get more data there. My one of my thoughts for my total, my favorite total, I was thinking about Saints 49ers over once
Mhm.
it drops a bunch. So Purdy was just basically announced out. So I assume that line's going to come down and the total is going to come down. It's the 49ers have no players, but the Saints defense, Demario Davis, by the way, and Cam Jordan just don't age, I guess. I don't know. They're like 37. They played so well last week. But the Saints defense isn't great. The Saints offense, I thought, showed some things. They went really fast. Like, they were the fastest team in the league last, I think, by margin. About 11 personnel. Kellen Moore can still call an offense. So with Mac Jones, if this total gets low enough indoors, I might look the over. Two, like, good play callers. So we'll see. But I'm going to go with the Ravens Browns. I also thought about Seahawks Steelers under. Seahawks D is legit, but I need and like this Seahawks offense. I think they'll be able to run it a bit to like keep possession of the ball.
Yeah.
And
Jury's
then
out on this.
what?
Like, I think the jury's out on the Steelers too. That. I mean, the Jets were great. I mean, we think it was the Jets, but I mean that still is concerning for the Steelers defense in week one. You know,
Yeah,
what I mean, like,
I just got to see who's playing in the secondary for the Steelers. I got a couple injuries there, and they signed a couple guys, so it might mean that a couple guys are out.
yeah.
But they got Peppers, who I think can still play. But we'll see if Porter can go. Because, I mean, apparently Sam Darnold's just going to try to throw it to Jackson Smith the Jigba 70 times. Um, but I'm going to go with the Browns Ravens over 45. They're pretty clean injuries for both teams. Conklin, right tackle for Browns, and likely uh, for the Ravens still will probably be out. But, I mean, this is just too low for the Ravens. They're a juggernaut. I think the Browns defense is underrated coming into the year. They played well last week, but there's still holes at safety, linebacker. Garrett just dominate. He can dominate a quarterback that is not mobile, but Lamar can run from that. The Ravens have a much better left tackle than the Bengals, and this Ravens offense just scores on everyone. They've scored 30 plus in 12 of the past 15 games. 15 of their past 18 games have hit at least 45, average of 43, median of 51. I also think so. I think the Ravens are going to score here. I also think and Flacco, I like some of the things I saw in the Browns offense, the Stefanski offense. I think they can put up, at least 14 here. And Flacco's probably good for like a killer mistake or two, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens get a pick six or something like that. And the Browns are just gonna throw a ton. They threw it 45 times in a 17-16 game. So they're just gonna throw it all over. My guy Fannin is a monster.
Monster. Samson looked good too.
Samson looked good. So this offense is a
Yeah.
little more juice than many might have thought coming into the year. And here's the other thing, like a little maybe hidden edge. I also will say Lamar first half against the spread is like the best bet in sports. 59, 34, and 2 against the spread, 63% covered by 3 points per game. And when he's a favorite of more than six, 12, 3, and 1 against the spread. But a little hidden edge in this game is that both teams might be more aggressive than usual. So the Browns obviously have kicker issues, so they might, and they know that they're a big underdog, so they might be going for it on fourth down much more. And the Ravens, well, they have a rookie kicker, saw them miss an extra point, but they just blew a lead up 16 in the fourth quarter. All the commentaries about them, all these blown leads in the fourth quarters. So if you think they're up two possessions in the fourth quarter, that they're going to sit on it? No, they're not punting it. They're going for it, and they're going to pad. Over 45. I think just Ravens offense is too low.
Yeah, just like that. Just stop calling these damn jet sweeps to Zay Flowers when you're up, like when in key moments. Like just put it in Lamar's hand. Like Lamar Jackson, I saw some like a survey. I think it was the Athletic, and he was like the third or fourth ranked quarterback on people's list in some like. I don't know what people are saying. Like Lamar Jackson might be the best quarterback I've ever seen play football in the history of football. Like he's playing unbelievably. So I'm with you. The Ravens are going to score on everybody, and I still don't think people realize
they're good for 30
Lamar
plus
Jackson
pretty
is.
much every week, unless it's the
Yeah,
Steelers. Then it'll be 17-16.
this is like Peyton Manning, except he can run. Like this is like that those kind of numbers. Like this is just Lamar Jackson's ridiculous. So yeah, like it. Okay, so Jags, Bengals over 48.5, Ravens, Browns over 45. Let's go to our money line dogs. Oh man, I mean that was painful last week.
Ravens and Falcons.
Let's not even talk about that.
No,
I mean, I just knew Young Wei Koo was missing that kick.
I knew it.
Going
100%.
Yeah, you knew. Like it's like a couple years ago when you would have to take Texans money lines instead of because like you knew there was going to be some shenanigans at the end with them and they would win by one instead of three or.
It just sucked how the whole game played out because they dominated every fourth down.
Oh my god, that play by Penix, bro.
Yeah.
They might have a quarterback though. That, I mean they probably do. I should say that more confidently. But anyway, where are you going for your money line dog?
I thought about going with the Bears, but tough spot. Like I'm just fascinated by this Ben Johnson. I thought there was some improvements to Caleb Williams, but he's still not all the way there. It's going to take time.
Jackson was horrible. The Jonah Jackson was terrible. I thought the run play design
running was good.
Terrible. So I wonder if like when guys become head coaches, and then we'll go back to what you're actually choosing. But when guys become head coaches, little things like that kind of get lost, like some of the details. And I just wonder if, Ben Johnson now having to do everything, some of those like run play designs and blocking schemes. And like, he's still, he's focusing on like some of the play calls and the sequencing, but I just thought some of the designs and the route designs were bad. And also just so many static routes that makes me think that he just doesn't trust Caleb Williams to throw the ball accurately on time.
Yeah. The other thing, some of these coaches, when assistants become coaches, they don't get the clock management right. And Johnson was awful in that 2-minute warning, the challenge that like cost him a chance to at the game late. Also, that happened with Kellen Moore at the end of the first half.
Oh.
The Cardinals, there was like a minute to go, and they were first and goal. And you don't call a timeout, and then the Cardinals smartly run it all the way down, and then you don't even get a chance to get unbelievable. But
yeah, I mean, a lot of teams blew the Washington blew a chance in close.
Yeah, the intentional
Giants
grounding,
blew a couple, and then O'Connell even screwed up.
So many, I could go on and on.
Yeah, O'Connell even screwed up one with the 11 seconds long field goal. I mean, yeah, it was week one for a lot of people, but I don't trust the Bears. I do not trust the Bears.
Yeah, our first favorites episodes, I ranted about that. Yeah, I mean, the Lions look awful. They're not the same team.
But I still don't trust the Bears. Like I went back and I watched the all 22, dude. It gets worse.
Well, same with the Lions. I mean, Goff got back 3 times for 150 yards. They couldn't run it. The play design.
We expected that though. We love the Packers. We love the Packers.
Yes, but I'm saying the play design, offensive line, it was bad.
Everything.
What was his aid out? Like 1 yard?
Angstrom, bro. Angstrom's coming out the real winner in this because boy, the Jets look good as hell and like underlying the play, like everything there, nothing to criticize. Whereas, the Lions
I'm gonna go. You know where I'm going. I'll go with the Colts.
Yeah, okay, of course.
Bo Nix, road favorite. What I saw last week. I mean, he might have been the worst back I saw last week. There was a couple picks. I dropped pick 6, by the way, with the Titans. That usually gets returned almost every time. He was bad. So the Colts look, Daniel Jones in this offense, he looked great. And the defense, that's like,
Yeah.
I think this will be a lower scoring game. The defense is improved. Look at the scheme differences. The Panthers are the new Colts, and the Panthers have to do it because they have no talent. They're just going to run cover three like 60% of the time. But the Colts, the scheme differences are dramatic, and then obviously their secondary is more talented. Defensive line is good. So yeah, Daniel Jones. If it wasn't a fluke, like part of this, that I'm like, all right, how much of this was the Dolphins? That's what you don't really know in week one. But yeah, I
A
think
lot, but
yeah, I think the Colts are worth
it's
a
too
shot.
early in the season for this. The Broncos, now they're on the road. Like that last week, everything. You do worry about Daniel Jones against potentially the best defense in the league, but at
Yeah,
the
and
end of the
pressure,
day,
under pressure.
The Broncos offense still kind of ironing things out. Sean Payton he wasn't happy how he called the game last week. So there's still some kinks to work out. Low scoring game.
Revenge
Home
narrative.
dog.
Colts
Yeah.
Broncos last year when I lost that bet because oh my God.
Anthony Richardson, Bo Nix threw 3 picks, if I remember correctly, and still Anthony Richardson just like it was like a blowout somehow. Still,
They
for the
had that
Broncos.
pick six with like the receiver threw it. Remember?
Yeah,
Jonathan
yeah,
Taylor dropped the ball going into the end zone.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. He put like a Deshaun
They
Jackson,
were
right?
about to
Yeah,
blow him out.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Colts revenge. Where are you going?
Ah, man. I am. I told you I would be with you somehow with the Chiefs. So you already gave the stats, Mahomes dog. And I don't see the Chiefs going down 0-2. There's definitely some chinks in the armor. Last year, they got very lucky. This year, it was like they finally lost a one possession game.
Yeah, that's another
But
country. This is the United States.
right. Yeah. And listen, Chiefs probably not as good as they were at their peak, especially with all these injuries. The Eagles, just an mass exodus on defense. I did not think that defense, outside of the linebackers, which the linebackers were great for the Eagles, but that defense, not the same. And the Chiefs, they'll find a way to get it done here against an Eagles team that, like you said, questions on offense, questions on defense. So give me KC plus 105.
I also hard lean under here. Talk about two teams that if they're up, want to just run out the clock. Like Mahomes' second half unders are like the most profitable thing. The Eagles' second half unders are always good. If either of these teams are up, the whole second half, all they're going to want to do is run out the clock with like 12-minute drives. So strongly.
Yeah. I thought about that. The one thing, Mahomes is making a point, like even with all the injuries, he's like, I'm still throwing it deep.
Yeah, he was throwing it downfield. It was nice to see.
Yeah.
Can we
So
get like Thornton? Can he have a game?
I think he can. I was hiring him last week in fantasy, relative to consensus, and that paid off. I do think they're taking this seriously. So that's the only. And then for the Eagles, you might get a force feed AJ Brown game. So it might be one of those like annoying where it's like they just kind of go against tendency. So I'm gonna stay away from the total. But yeah, Broncos money line. Broncos money line. Freudian slip. Colts money line is plus 110. Chiefs plus 105. That would be a plus 331 if you parlay those two together. Colts, Chiefs. All right. Anytime touchdown. I could go first on this. We both have an interesting angle here. So, one thing I looked at with rookie first round receivers, and in week one, a lot of times it's hit or miss. They tend to play snaps, but the production, for every Emeka Buka, you kind of have like a Matthew Golden type of game. But week two, you tend to see these guys erupt. And if you look back over the past decade, 14 touchdowns among those handful of rookie, number one picks. And it's only about 20 something of them, depending on who you count as like full-time guys, but just a massive uptick from week one, and especially for the guys in the first half of the first round in terms of where they were picked. And that applies to Travis Hunter and it applies to Ted McMillan. So I'm going to go with Travis Hunter here, plus 225 to get in the end zone. Led the Jaguars in targets, kind of went under a little overlooked because it was, they didn't need to do much on offense. He only got 33 yards, but led the Jaguars in targets with 8, led the Jaguars in targets per route run. So I think this guy is just scratching the surface And I believe if he gets one on defense, that still counts, right? That still counts as at any time because it's not a passing touchdown. So that doesn't actually hurt us at all. So like Travis Hunter here, plus 225. And where you going?
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention with the Bears Lions, I'm monitoring to see. I think it's really important this week. Gordon, Johnson, Edwards, do they play? They're gonna have a walkthrough tonight. We'll know more, but that's gonna hurt them. Indoors where the lines Goff is much better. You can't be without all of your corners again. I'm gonna go. I'm piggybacking off of your. I wanted to take Fannin again, but I'm probably gonna bet Fannin on my own every week to score. But
don't hate it.
Piggybacking off of your thesis here, and I'm going to go with my guy. I loved him in college, Ted McMillan, against the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals will have success. I thought about the Panthers. The Cardinals didn't look great last week, but this is a bad, just running a ton of cover three against Kyler Murray and McBride probably is not going to end well. So I think that they're probably going to be playing from behind, throwing a lot, and Tet is going to have some opportunities here. So we'll go on your thesis: two rookie receivers in week 2, McMillan and Hunter.
Yeah, this is usually when you start to see that eruption, and I thought both of them had pretty solid week 1s.
Although I will say, Will Johnson looked tremendous.
Yeah. I mean, great value pick by the Cards, but we know how it goes. I mean,
no, I'm not saying that's
Panthers are going. The Panthers are probably going to dig themselves in a hole and have to throw it to Tet.
No, I'm not saying he's going to. It's a reason not to bet it, but for their season long, like if Will Johnson hits, that's huge.
Yeah, and I think the Panthers, like, they're one of those teams where it's like, every week they're going to be tempting.
I don't want to bet them. I need.
It's more. Like maybe that's you with the Giants, but for me, it's the Panthers.
I'm with you, the Panthers for now, and especially like we don't know the left tackle. The receivers were supposed to be a strength. Trade Thielen, Coker to the IR. So like your receivers now are even side of McMillan. It's like
Bryce is no bueno.
And Bryce looked lost. His footwork was bad last week. It looked like he regressed. So I got to see more before
Panthers and I came into the year high in the Bears and I was just dismayed. So Bears are also another one just hands off for me. I gotta actually see it with Benny. But I just real curious, real quick. Ted McMillan, a lot of comparisons to another guy who kind of was a little bit polarizing, Drake London. How did those two guys compare long term? Like, does Tet kind of reach those same heights, assuming he gets a better quarterback play, or it's like how does he compare to Drake London overall as a prospect?
I think they're pretty similar. It's just, is he going to have the quarterback play? As far as skill sets, I think it's pretty similar. I think he has a lot of promise.
Two tiny little quarterbacks facing off. What a cute game. Cardinals Panthers. All right. Let's see. Plus 175 and
maybe like the shortest in like the last 20 years.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, in week 1 we had, I don't know if this is official, but I would almost guarantee it is the most combined time lost to weather delays. We had like an hour plus in the Eagles game, an hour plus in the Panthers game, and then there's a few minutes in that Denver game too somehow. So that was kind of nuts.
The shortest modern NFL quarterback matchup was Kyler Murray, Bryce Young last year.
Yeah. That was a game the Panthers was Panthers a walk-off Cuba. Yeah. So I don't think they're accurate this year.
Ted Marchibroda in 1956 versus Eddie LeBaron was the shortest one pre-Super Bowl.
But anyway, plus 794, McMillan, Hunter, 2 rookies. These first round picks tend to go off in week 2. 2 touchdowns are in play as well if you want to get even more along with the odds. Jill, Gallant, Kerner, and I will be back on this channel on Friday with the touchdown show. But before we get out of here, gotta run it back with Survivor. Where are you going? You had the Cards in week 1. I had the Eagles because just didn't really see any spots where I wanted to use them. Kind of down on them this year. So they scraped the win, and the Cardinals got one against the Saints. Where are you going week 2?
Like I said, I'm going bigger contest. Gonna be riskier. Not gonna go with the crowd. I'm going with the Texans.
Ooh, spicy. That's a spicy one. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm going with the Ravens. So, but it's not just because it's like, okay, they're the biggest favorite. It's more so the Ravens I like, but when you look at their schedule, lot of tough games. This is why we thought the Bills probably have a good shot at the number 1 seed. So the Ravens, their other game against the Browns is on the road. They also face, I think it's the Jets at home, like teams that could be better than we thought entering the season. So not too many spots I see that I love the Ravens at going forward, even though love them as a football team. So yeah, going with them here. So you got Texans, I got Ravens. See how that goes. Week 2 Survivor. That's a wrap for us. Thank you for listening. All season long, you can hear me and Turner talking fantasy, player projections, DFS on the Fantasy Flex podcast. And already mentioned, we'll be on this channel for the Touchdown Show Friday. Also, be sure to check out Stuck on the all new Favorites podcast Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. And of course, you got to check out Big Bets on Campus if you are betting college football. Stuck is on X at Stuckey2. I'm at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. And I got to mention Playbook. Follow Playbook on X. It's an AI chat bot that we built that if you screenshot any bet that you see, for example, that Stuck or I taking the Action app, or you could even just write a bet in or screenshot a bet anywhere on the internet, and at Playbook, it will build you a loaded bet slip. If you write the sports book that you want, it will load up that sports book as well for a bet slip, so you can bet it instantly. It's really cool. So go follow Playbook on X as well. Until next week, let's get this money.
I go.